It's Transformers96 here with another collection video. So it's been quite a while since I've done a collection video. I think it's been a good 6 months or so. Collection videos, they're always very time consuming, and a lot of times when I think of doing a collection video, I think of, oh, let me just wait until I get this figure, or oh, let me wait until I finish this project, and things like that. So I always seem to delay myself in doing updates. But every now and then I do one. I'm doing one right now, and let's show you the collection. I'm going to be showing you the entire room. So that extends to regular figures like you're seeing right now, as well as the 1/6 scale hot toys, things like that, as well as just anything that I have on the walls. And yeah, I'll talk about some future plans maybe, and definitely talk about the things that I've done in updating the collection from the last one. Since it's been so long since the last one, just about everything has changed. There's barely anything that it's in the same spot as it was when you first saw it. I've added new shelves to displays. I've taken things off the shelves and added new collections. And then, of course, just over the time of buying figures, the collection has grown. So, yeah, let's get started to it. Let's start off with the Transformers on the top shelf there. Alright, so starting off with the Transformers, this was a shelf that when I first set up, when I first moved here, I was quite disappointed with. It is a relatively high shelf. The shelf comes up to maybe just about like where my mouth is, so it's just at eye level. And because of that, with the Transformers, some of the figures got lost, so it was basically the front row that was completely visible, and then the back row because of the really tall figures in the back, and just about all the figures in the middle were completely lost. My plan was always to put in shelves, and I've finally done that. As you can see, they are all, I've got shelves in there, so even just from standing, camera being lower, you can completely see every single figure. There's not a single figure being hidden, which is fantastic. I've put in like 6 shelves or so, 6 like steps, and yeah, it really showcases them all really nicely. And this top shelf has a lot of room height-wise, so it really works out nice. As you can see, I have all of my Autobots, and then we get a splitting point kind of like right there, where it turns into Decepticons. As far as the actual figures in here, not much has changed as far as what figures are being displayed, mainly because, I really just try to collect movie Transformers and TV show Transformers. However, there really aren't any more TV show figures, at least from shows that I've watched. So basically I only buy movie figures, and of course without a movie out, this year or last year, it has just basically stayed the same. So basically just the design of the shelf has changed, but the figures on it have remained the same. Alright, going down a shelf we have the Marvel Comics as well as movie collection, mostly comics however. Just so you know, I do have like a light that I've put in here just so you can see the collection a lot more clearly, and it's behind me, so if ever there is a shadow on the collection, it's purely just because I'm stepping in front of the frame or the actual camera is in front of the light, so I do apologize. But this is a collection that I really do love. I like collecting Marvel comic figures a lot. Marvel Legends and Universe and Select are really fun lines to collect, as well as I just love the diversity of the actual characters. They look so different, they have so many bright and colorful costumes, and they just look fantastic in just a sea of characters. And I try not to group them really, I just try to put them like all just randomly placed. I'm not trying to group the Spider-Man people and the X-Men people, I just kind of like to spread them all out. So we have Selects and Build-A-Figures in the back, then we have Marvel Legends, and then we have Marvel Universe up front. Just give you a grand view of them. As you can see, this collection is always growing because there's always new Marvel Legends in particular. Marvel Universe and Selects have basically stopped, but the Legends are going full force. And then we ended up here at the end, where it's just my movie collection, very small little space. I have the majority of my Avengers figures in a Detolf cabinet that I'll be showing you later. But as you can see, you just have some of the Build-A-Figures in the back, and then just random Marvel Legends figures that don't fit into that Detolf display. And then I have sections of 3 3/4 inch movie figures with Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. As you can see, the giant man in the back there, almost complete, just missing one arm, but at least he can still join the collection for now. But there you go, that's my movie shelf, or sorry, yeah, my comic and movie Marvel shelf. Moving down a collection. Alright, down a shelf we have my DC shelf. This section has been reduced quite a bit. I did have a fair amount of just kind of random comic book DC figures that I just sold recently because the DC Universe kind of line hasn't really continued, and they were just kind of random, so I just sold them all except for my Yellow Lanterns, because I'm a big Yellow Lantern fan, and then the classic comic Batman, and my Build-A-Figure Bane, because I do like Bane a lot. So I basically sold the majority of my comic book DC figures. However, I do still have the movie collection with the Movie Masters Green Lantern movie, Dark Knight Rises, as well as Man of Steel. I did buy some Dawn of Justice figures and decided to return them when DC Collectibles announced that they were making them. So at the moment I don't have any Dawn of Justice figures on display. However, when the DC Collectibles and Mephex ones come out, I do plan to get some of them. And you can see some Hellboy stuff in the back. And then my Arkham Collection was previously on top of one of my glass cases, and I did just decide to move them and put them on the actual DC shelf. So there's my Arkham Collection. Arkham is really the only DC collection I'm actively collecting. There's just really nothing like out that I buy from DC very often at all. It's really just Hot Toys and Arkham. So at the moment, DC collection is, not going too strong. Just there's not a whole lot of stuff coming out. This will be extremely growing when Suicide Squad comes out. It's my most anticipated movie of the year, and I do plan to buy quite a bit of merchandise from that movie. Alright, down to the last actual shelf. It's mainly my Star Wars collection. However, on the left there you can see that I do have my Jaegers from Pacific Rim, as well as just some other random NECA figures from Planet of the Apes and Prometheus. So yeah, so then I do have like a little Jabba the Hutt collection where I have a Jabba's Palace display in the pop scale, 6-inch Black Series scale, and then most of all in the 3¼ series. I do have quite a lot of Jabba figures. I'm a big Jabba the Hutt and his palace fan, so I do have a nice size collection of that. And then we move over to the majority of my Black Series collection, mainly just the Force Awakens figures. Do have some in-package figures in the back there, just kind of randomly placed. And yeah, so basically just Black Series. I have quite a lot of. I have all of the Black Series Force Awakens figures, so I have them all displayed there, looking quite nice. I did have Ahsoka displayed for a while, but she keeps falling. She cannot stand for the life of her, so I've taken her off the shelf, and I'm even considering selling that figure because of just how much of a pain it is, even though it is a nice figure. And then finally we have the Clone Wars display. Big Clone Wars fan, I love the TV show. Of course, the toy line is over, so it's, this collection is going to be growing. However, I do still love it because of how much I did like that show previously. So that's all. So that's quite a decent collection. I did decide to put them all on bases as opposed to last time. The Clone Wars figures are so annoying because they have very little feet and most of them don't have ankle articulation. So if one falls, they all fall, which is absolutely mind-blowingly annoying. So I decided to put them all on bases for function, as well as that actually kind of looks better with them on bases. And under all the shelves we do have my Pacific Rim Kaiju figures. These are they're big and they're awkward and they're all sorts of different shapes. So I wanted to display them, of course, but they just don't work very well on a shelf. They really need a big space, and therefore I thought just under the shelves are a good spot for them. I might be moving them, but for now, they look nice. They don't take up much room. Well, they actually take up a lot of room, but it's room that I don't need. So overall, they look quite nice there. And I like the Kaijus quite a bit, so it is nice to be able to display them. And just on the sides, I have my big Marvel figures with Galactus and the Sentinel. Alright, and if you're wondering where these shelves are actually placed, they are in the closet of the room. What I did was, when I first moved in, I took out the doors and put a trim piece over the top, as well as just placed the 4 shelves in there. So I basically turned the closet into like a little nook with my regular figures and that whole collection. On the side of it, next to the door here, I do have a couple just in-packaged items. Just the 3¼ Star Wars figures. The figures themselves are pretty bad. They only have 5 points of articulation. However, their boxes are awesome. Really do love the boxes. Great artwork of the characters on the sides. And I've kind of put them where I've got 2 green ones, 2 blue ones, 2 orange ones, and then 2 purple ones. So just a little representation. You know, I think I'm going to put some more in-package figures below them, as well as above these shelves. I do plan to put some sort of shelf up there because it is such a large area. It actually goes up very high. The ceilings in this room are quite high, which I do like, and so I do plan to put something right there. As well as we go over, I do have a window right next to the collection, and then we do have, there we go. We do have some busts from DC, all of them being Lantern figures. Some from the movie, as well as just some from the comics, and yeah, just a little shelf above the window to house a few of the busts I have. I don't have a very large bust collection, but I do have a few. Then we move over to the door, and before I go over the stuff in the cabinet, I have just put this up. This is the newest addition to the collection. And it is actually my cards. I'm not a big trading card collector. However, I do collect costume cards. And costume cards are little pieces of the material from the costumes, or at least the same material from the costumes from different movies. And yeah, I've wanted a way to display them for years. However, I haven't had a way to display them. And I finally did decide to do this, which is really nice. It's just, I put up strips of just white wood on the wall, and then got trim pieces of the wood, and then placed it just over those strips a little bit higher up, so they would have a place to kind of slot in, so that, you know, they're not just like sitting there, they're actually relatively secure, which is nice. And you can see the reflection of the fan there. But as you can see, I do have a nice collection of them. They look quite good there. I'm very happy about that. As well as do have room up top for expansion for when new cards come out, like Doctor Strange would be the next series of cards. So very cool. I'm not a huge collector of cards. However, this is kind of my guilty pleasure when it comes to cards, are the costume cards. So yeah. Alright, and on the wall next to that one, I do have a large collection of in-package figures, the majority of them being 3 3/4 inch, with a row of 6-inch figures. And just on the top part of the wall, as you can see, this wall is very high up, so I can fit a lot of figures. I do have figures, and in order that I've figured out to place them on the top row there. However, it's actually so high that my ladder doesn't reach the top. So I'm not quite sure how I'm ever going to finish that, because I've been planning to finish it forever, and I haven't been able to put the top row up. But hopefully I can borrow a really tall ladder from somebody so I can finish that up, because I would love to put the final touch, the final row of figures at the top there. But for now, I was able to cover the majority of the wall with random figures, some Star Wars, mostly Marvel, and a little bit of DC there. So yeah, and then we scroll down, and you can see or at least a portion of the 6-scale and mostly Hot Toys collection. But let's give you a closer look at that. Alright, at the top of the Detolf cabinet, we do have my J. Scott Campbell Collection Sideshow Black Cat statue. Looking really nice. It's one of my few statues that I do have. I think it fits just perfectly on top of the Detolf, as well as I do have a signed print of the picture that it's based off of on the side there. So really do like that setup. I think that it looks quite nice, and you know, without the print, I think it would look quite plain, but as a set kind of together, I think it does look quite nice. And then going down to the items in the actual Detolf, we do have, starting off in the first cube, my Spider-Man collection. I actually don't have a actual classic Spider-Man from Hot Toys. I originally planned to get the one from Amazing Spider-Man 2, decided to not get that one, and now I do plan to get the one from Civil War, which is not on pre-order or hasn't been announced in the slightest, so hopefully that one does come out, but if it doesn't, I'll get the one from Homecoming, but eventually I will get a classic Spider-Man. But at the moment, I just have the black suited Spider-Man, which comes with the Sandman diorama base, as well as the Electro figure. So yeah, now moving down, we're going to have a Star Wars shelf. Alright, and this Star Wars cube is quite kind of random. It's just random Star Wars figures that I have that don't quite fit in with anything else. I have Boss, 2 battle droids, and the Spiro BB-8. The Bosk I will end up displaying with some of the other bounty hunters. I have Forlom on pre-order, and I do think that I'm going to get a Boba Fett, so I'll eventually display him with the bounty hunters. But for now, do kind of have a random shelf there of Star Wars. I have a couple of the Masterpiece Transformers, being the Seekers, Starscream, Sunstorm, and Thundercracker. And then at the very bottom, we do have the rest of those Marvel Legends I was talking about, as well as Select and 3 3/4 inch. I just kind of have a layering effect of Avengers with all the same figures, but in 3 different scales. They do look quite nice, and if you're looking at them dead on, it's actually quite a neat little display there. And I'm always adding to it. You know, the Marvel Legends Falcon is coming out pretty soon, which I'm definitely excited to get to add to this, as well as the Select Winter Soldier. Alright, and on the top of my first large glass cabinet, we do have my Elite Series collection. I'm a big Elite Series fan. I've always just found these figures really fun. They're die-cast Disney Store exclusive figures from Star Wars. As you can see, I do have like a set of them up top, all in packaged, which creates a nice backdrop for the actual figures. I have 2 of the majority of the figures that have been released. R2 and C-3PO are the only ones that I don't have 2 of. But yeah, just to give you a close-up look of this set. Very cool. I really do enjoy these figures. They're very fun to buy, and they look fantastic in packaging. One of the few figure lines that I actually buy 2 of almost all the figures. Usually I don't do that, but this time I made an exception. So now let's see what's in the actual display cabinet that they're on top of. Alright, so this is mainly my DC shelf, or cabinet. However, I do have a shelf of Star Wars figures. These will eventually be moved to DTOF cabinets, but for now I have the space to display them in the big in the big cabinet, so I felt that I would do that. But as you can see, I do have Kylo Ren with the 2 Stormtroopers. Eventually I'm going to turn that into my Justice League shelf and have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the whole Justice League on it. And then below that, at the moment, I have the Man of Steel collection with a General Zod without the armor, a Superman himself, and then a General Zod with armor. And then eventually I'm going to turn this into, I believe, either just my villain shelf for DC or my Suicide Squad shelf. And then at the very bottom we do have my Nolan Batman Hot Toys Trilogy collection. And a lot of these figures are in black, and they're on a black floor there, so it's actually kind of hard to see them. But there's Catwoman, Bane, a Nurse Joker, Batman Armory, Batman himself, Two-Face, Scarecrow, and Alfred there. So a nice little collection, one that's not going to be growing anymore since, of course, the trilogy is done. There's no new figures to add to it, so that's just kind of a shelf that's done. However, you know, I do love the trilogy, so I definitely wanted a representation of it in Hot Toys form in my display. And at the top of my next DTOF, we have a little scene going on with General Grievous, who's picking up a clone and actually stabbing him with his lightsaber. This is a pose that I really do like. I think it looks awesome, and really happy to have the space to be able to display it nicely, and looking pretty cool. And actually, you know, when I came up with this pose, I was so happy with it, and even though that was quite a while ago, I still enjoy it a whole lot. So that's very nice. And then we go down. This cabinet is one of the only DTOF cabinets with an actual theme. The other 2 are just kind of random stuff from Hot Toys and just other things like that. But this one has a theme, and it is Joker related. So at the top there we do have the DX11, I think. Maybe he's 12. I think it's the DX11 Joker, which is actually my favorite Hot Toys. And he's just by himself at the moment with the interrogation room backdrop. I do eventually plan to, when some of the Suicide Squad Hot Toys come out and I have a Suicide Squad Joker and Harley Quinn, I do plan to actually move my other Heath Ledger Jokers into this cabinet and have the bank robber as well as the nurse one standing behind him. But for now, it is just the regular Joker. And then moving down to the next cube, we have a similar setup where it is just another Hot Toys Heath Ledger Joker. This time it's the bank robber one, and with his whole display that he comes with the large kind of a base there with a backdrop of the school bus that's breaking into the bank. And yeah, so just have him displayed. Like I said, though, eventually I will be moving him with the regular Joker, and I'm going to make this shelf a Hot Toys Jared Leto Joker with the Margot Robbie Harley Quinn. So eventually this will be the modern representation of the Joker and Harley Quinn kind of cube, but for now it does just house the bank robber Joker. Then we go down to my Harley Quinn collection. This is definitely going to be a shelf that is extremely growing in the future with a bunch of new movie Harley Quinn figures coming out. But as you can see, I do have my only Play Arts figures. I have 3 Play Arts figures, all of them being Harley Quinn from her City, Asylum, and Night incarnations for different looks from those games. And then I do have the same costumes that she's in the DC collectible scale. And then up front in the corner, I do have a Figure Arts Injustice Harley Quinn. There's a Figure Arts, some Mephics, a DC Collectibles, and a Mattel Harley Quinn figures that are coming out. I'll be putting them all in here except for the Mattel one. I'm going to put the Mattel one just on the regular shelf, as well as the DC Collectibles statue from the movie Harley Quinn. I do have that on pre-order. Should be coming out next month, and I will be putting that in there as well. So my Harley Quinn collection is definitely going to be growing soon. But for now, it's looking pretty nice with mainly the game incarnations of her. And then at the bottom, we do have I think it's like a Best Buy exclusive or something. It's kind of the deluxe set for the Arkham Origins game, which came with a Joker diorama statue. And I do just have that at the bottom. It's a perfect fit for one of these cubes there. It actually fits perfectly in it, so it does look quite nice. So it's my only D12 cabinet that actually has a theme, but it is a theme that I think everybody will enjoy, being all Joker related, which I do like a lot. And of course, with Joker and Harley Quinn being in a new movie, this is definitely going to be updated and filled up more in the upcoming year, which I'm very excited about. And at the top of my next kind of larger cabinet, I do have, this is my Marvel Avengers cabinet basically. I do have an Avengers Age of Ultron poster up top, and then just on the top there I have a Mark III Bruce Banner and the Hulk. That's just for the time being. That's just kind of figures that I don't have a specific place for at the moment, so I'm just kind of putting them in the cabinet somewhere to be able to show them. Or on the cabinet to be able to show them. However, they will all be moved eventually, and I do plan to put the Hulkbuster and the Hulk on top of this cabinet once the Hulkbuster actually comes out. But that Mark III and Bruce Banner will be moved when that happens. And then we scroll down, we can see the Avengers collection, which is very cool. My next project, I have many projects in here, like putting the steps in for my Transformer shelf, as well as for putting up that little card display and putting things on the wall. I have many projects that I do, and my next project is going to be putting lights in these cabinets. That's something that I've wanted to do for a while now, and I'm going to be doing that. The only one that I've actually done it for already is this cabinet, where I do have lights at the bottom, so let me turn those on for you. Alright, so I did turn on the lights. I do have them all lit up from the bottom. These are just lights that I had in my D12 cabinet before I moved. And I decided just to throw them at the bottom so that I didn't have to hang them up, just to see how it would look. Not expecting it to look good, but it actually turned out to look quite good. Since a lot of these figures aren't on bases, the light does travel up to the very top, as well as it gives it a really nice look. I don't know, I like the lighting from the bottom a whole lot. So, as you can see, I do have Team Captain America at the top. At the middle section, I have a Team Iron Man, or at least what I can put in as Team Iron Man. I'm missing, of course, quite a lot of the members, considering Black Panther and Spider-Man aren't released yet, and I don't have a War Machine. I'll be getting the Mark I, which comes out pretty soon, or relatively soon, within the next 3 months or so, and then of course I do have just Thor thrown in there to give Iron Man another member. So I do have the complete Captain America team. However, I'm quite lacking when it comes to Iron Man, but in the future that will be rectified with the release of the newest figures, as well as I have Guardians of the Galaxy at the bottom, which is very nice, and of course Drax will complete the team very nicely. But as you can see, I do really love the shelf. It's definitely my main attraction. It's on my main wall, I would say. It's the one directly opposite, basically, from the door, so it's kind of the centerpiece of the room is this cabinet, and it's definitely looking quite nice. I definitely like it a lot, and those lights just look really nice and really light everything up, which is quite good. So let's move over to my last D12 cabinet. Alright, and at the top of my next D12, we do have my little Thanos display. Of course, I was quite taken back by that Thanos figure, considering he comes with a full throne, which I absolutely love, and definitely wanted to display him on the throne, because I think that's what really makes that figure special. So I definitely wanted to have that. So I have him displaying on the throne, and finally, out of all my Hot Toys figures, probably my least favorites would have to be those Chitauri. Those are ones that I was just really looking forward to. I got them, and there's something about them that I just do not like, and I finally have a place where I actually like them. I think that they look really good, kind of like guarding Thanos. Let's give you just a front view of it. Let's go up. There you go. Yeah, I just love it. I think that they look awesome. They're just kind of like at his back, holding the guns the way that they are. They just look like really nice foot soldiers, and I think that they're just finally. I have a place where I can put the Chitauri, and they're more of just kind of to help the display rather than to be displayed themselves, which I think is where those figures kind of belong, because for some reason I just really am not too into them when they're just displayed by themselves or you know, with the collection, but as like a backdrop they're really perfect, and I absolutely love that display with Thanos up there. Right, now moving down, kind of continuing that Marvel villain theme. Marvel villains are figures that I've really had trouble finding places to display, just because they just don't look nice together. I thought that having just a big collection with all my Marvel villains would look great, and for some reason I've just never really liked that. So I finally kind of split them all off into places where I think that they look the best. And here I just have Loki standing by himself with the two Red Skulls behind him, Red Skull and Johann Schmidt, and I think that they look quite nice. I've put them on kind of Avengers and Ant-Man bases just because I think that they kind of look good, and the chrome on those nameplates really reflect based on the angle that they're at, which is nice. So they're just kind of nice together, nothing too special, however they do look good. Moving down, we do have just a little Deadpool collection. I don't think, at the moment, I'm going to get the movie Deadpool figure, just because I have the Sideshow one, as you can see, and that one is really nice, and the costume is essentially the same as far as it's not like the movie version of the costume isn't like some big change. It's obviously different, but it's, you know, done in the same design. So I'm thinking that I'm going to skip that Deadpool purely just to save on money, because there's just so many Hot Toys that I deem must-haves that I do definitely have to make a cutback every now and then, and I think that that Deadpool is going to be one of those cutbacks, which is a shame, but I do still have a representation in 6 scale of Deadpool, and this is a great figure, and I have that Loot Crate exclusive Deadpool next to him, just a little kind of trinket statue thing that I just really like. The next shelf is nothing special. This is purely a kind of placeholder shelf where I just have my Revoltech Ultron. Let me just lower the camera so you can get a better look. The Revoltech Ultron just on a select Doctor Doom stage or throne. So he does look really nice like that. However, he obviously isn't big enough to occupy an entire cube by himself. It's basically just a placeholder for now. I don't quite know what I'm going to put in there, but I'm always going to be putting more. I'm always needing more room and more cubes in the DTOF, so it's definitely going to come in handy sometime soon. And then at the very bottom we have my drone collection. I'm a big drone fan. I don't know why. It's not so much that I love the characters, but I love the figures. Ever since they were released, I've had just a really fondness for them, and I've over the years accumulated quite a lot of them, which is really nice, and I'm very kind of proud of. And I was able to build like a whole stepping stage display, which just looks awesome in my opinion. I really do love it. So I think that they look fantastic, and they perfectly take up a DTOF cabinet, and it's definitely a great way to display such a large collection of them without just throwing them in with my regular figures and just having them kind of be lost in the mix. This is a nice way to give them the spotlight of their own, which I think it definitely does deserve, because it's a really nice display. It's one that I really love, so I'm very happy to have it. Now moving over to the last portion of the collection, which is one more of the large cabinets. Right, and on the top of that last cabinet, we do have the my finishing pieces of the Pacific Rim presence in the room, which is the statues for the two Kaijus, being Slattern and Knifehead. These are my only other two statues other than that Black Cat one, and yeah, I really do like the Kaiju from Pacific Rim, and I was able to get these on a really good discount, which I'm very happy about, and I love these statues. I think they look great. They don't, you know, go with what's in this cabinet, however, they are just a really nice presence in the room, and definitely a good kind of statue, good statues to have. That they fill up the top really nicely, and obviously having the same base, they do look quite unified as well, which is quite nice. So now moving down into what's actually in the cabinet, which is my Iron Man collection. Alright, so at the top shelf of my Iron Man cabinet, we do have Tony Stark's kind of workshop with a Tony Stark figure dead center in the middle, standing on that base that the workshop Tony Stark comes with, as well as a table with just various pieces of Stark armor and blueprints, and like his heart that came with the Mark III, the exclusive version. And then in the back corners we have the Mark I, and I don't know if you can see it, but we do have, oops, getting my light in the way, the Mark 7, which is very nice. And then we scroll down a shelf. Actually, let's lower the camera. Alright, and at the middle shelf we have just some Ironman Villains. Not all of my Ironman Villains are there, but I do have the majority of them, which is Whiplash Mark 1 and 2, and the Mandarin. So very nice. These are figures that kind of all take up a decent amount of space, with the whips on the 2 Whiplash figures, you know, taking up room, as well as the Mandarin having the whole chair and sitting kind of diorama with his feet up. So having them all in a big shelf like that does allow me to display them as I want. And yeah, I'm very happy with that Mandarin figure. I think the Mandarin looks just wonderful with that damaged Tony Stark helmet that he's resting his foot on. And the 2 Whiplashes look good. I would like to display Ironmonger with them, however, he just doesn't fit on the shelf. It's not big enough, and I don't want to raise that shelf or anything, because then it would take away space from the other shelves. Speaking of other shelves, the last one we have at the moment, it's my Iron Legion collection. However, I do have a straggler in there, being Ironmonger. Just recently I put him in there, and he's a good fit for the shelf. I mean, it's like a perfect size for him, and he balances out Igor really nicely. However, he obviously, character-wise, doesn't fit with the rest of them. So I will be moving Ironmonger relatively soon. When I get my last Iron Legion figure in, which should be coming in pretty soon, I'll be moving Ironmonger and probably putting him on the top of a Detolf cabinet. I do have the room, and I do plan to get 2 more Detolf cabinets, and I think that he's going to go on the top of one of them. So that's my plan at the moment. But as the Iron Legion collection goes, you know, I've enjoyed collecting the Iron Legion figures. They obviously don't have much of a presence in the movie, and they're in a movie that I really don't like. However, the armors are so unique and cool that I've had fun actually collecting the figures, and I certainly don't have them all, but I have a nice range of representation of them with Igor, Gamma, Starboost, Silver Centurion, Bones, and the Heartbreaker, and then the last one will be Shotgun. And at the moment I don't plan to get any more, but you never know, maybe sales in the future, or if they do like one of the armors that I really like, then maybe I would. But for now I think I'm going to end it on Stryker, and that'll actually look like a nice Iron Legion collection. It'll kind of be just complete, and you know, it'll be well balanced with Igor in the middle, and then 4 figures up front, and then a figure on either side of Igor. So that's a total of 7 Iron Legion figures that I'll be ending with. But very nice. They do look nice, and they look good on those bases. I have to say, it looks like they're part of a team, you know, with the unified bases, which I do like a lot. So at the moment, the shelf isn't complete, but once it will be complete, I think that that's going to be a really nice looking shelf for the Iron Legion. Alright, so here's a final look at the regular kind of Hasbro, or majority of Hasbro collection, with Transformers, Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. And then the last shot of this video will be more of a grand view of the 6-scale stuff. So I hope that this video did give you a good representation of my toys as far as where they are relative to each other. Alright, as promised, here's an image of the 6-scale collection, kind of where they are all together. So I hope that you can kind of tell how this room is set up. You know, just like, if you don't know, right now I'm standing right next to the closet where I have the Hasbro figures that you just saw. So hope that you kind of have a good idea of how everything's set up. See, there we go. Give you a nice spin of the room there. The Iron Man stuff. I have just a light up there that I'm using to film, and then the window with the bus up top. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the collection. I really do. I love collecting, and mainly I love collecting just so I can add to this room. I love just coming in here and just standing and looking at it all and planning out where I'm going to put things and how I'm going to rearrange things, and you know, what displays I can set up, and just I spend so much time in here, and I absolutely love it, and just I love sharing it with you guys as well. So please let me know what you guys think of this collection. I do apologize if this video runs quite long. A lot of my collection videos do take a long time to film, and then when I put them together, the videos themselves turn out to be quite long as well. So if you stuck around till the end, I do thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this look at my collection. So there you go, that's my collection video. If you ever want an update, just let me know, either in the comments of this video, or just let me know in any other video comments or on my Instagram, and I'll see your message. And it's always good to know that you want an update, so that I know kind of I can better kind of base when to do the updates. So there you go, that's my updated collection room video, and thanks so much for watching.